Well, so today we're going to talk about BL, just because I've been reading quite a bit of it lately. It's kind of the main, not the main manga that I've been buying, but it's a big part of it. There are quite a few series that I've been continuing on with. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about whether I think those series are actually worth it, or if it's just me, just me, because I know a couple of these series, there are some of them that I think are genuinely worth it. That are genuinely good series, genuinely good characters and art. And there's some of them that are just bad, but I just keep reading them. And then I'm gonna talk about the couple of like one volume ones I have here. So we're just gonna talk about it, so you can see this maybe as like a introduction to BL. I mean, when I was growing up and getting into anime, I read a lot of shonen. That's what it was. It was mostly Bleach. It was mostly Bleach. Growing up in North Dakota in the 2000s, I think the first time I ever read about a gay character was when I was in middle school, like 6th or 7th grade, reading Cassandra Clare's Mortal Instruments series, and it was Alec and Magnus. I remember going online to fanfiction.net, and I was big when my first kind of foray into fanfiction was Robin Hood BBC, and I wrote death one shots. So I would just take these characters, and when they would die, and I'd write about them when they were dying. People loved them, and it was a really good, I think, for a 12 or 13-year-old. It was really good to get positive feedback on my writing like that. But I remember being so just kind of like unsure, because a big ship that I had never touched was Will Scarlet and Alan Adale, and I was just like, I don't know about that. And then I got older. I started reading more things. I started reading more fan fiction that had non-straight couples. I started reading more literature that had like gay, lesbian people in it, and that didn't translate over into my manga reading until very recently, within the past couple of years. So we're going to talk about the series I've been reading, and I think we'll start with like the one volume things. So the first one I've got here it's called There Are Things I Can't Tell You by Adako Mofu, which is about these two people who have been friends for so long, and they fall in love, and they can't, because one of them is super popular, the other one is super just shy and awkward and has always looked up to the other one, and he can't accept that they're in love, like that. And I honestly, this one is extremely unmemorable. It's not bad, from my remembering. The art style is fairly typical, I think, for the serious ones. Looks like I gave it a 3 out of 5 because it is extremely unmemorable. The characters are extremely unmemorable, but it is here. This next one I read much more recently. It's called The Cat Proposed by Dento Hayane, which is about this guy who's an overworked office worker. And let me tell you, if there is a character who is an overworked office worker, I've recently discovered that's a trope, that's a character that I very much, I love it. I love it. I started watching Zom 100 or whatever it's called. I'll put up a picture. It's got kind of the same thing going on. I love it. But he stops in to this place, and he sees this traditional play going on, and he sees this guy who's acting in the play. Suddenly he's like a cat, and this guy's like, what the hell is going on with this? And it turns out this guy is actually a cat, but now that he's seen him as a cat, then now they have to get married. It was cute. I enjoyed it a lot. I liked it. I liked the art style. I liked the characters. This going on here. It didn't bother me as much. The cat thing didn't bother me as much as the animalistic thing did in Yagi the Bookshop Goat. This one was weird. This has a very specific audience, and I don't think I'm that audience. This is about this. There's this is a word I can never say. Anthropomorphized animals, and you got this goat, and goats aren't allowed to work in bookshops because they eat all the stupid books. And he finally finds a bookshop where he can work, and his like boss is a wolf, and he gets menaced by this bear at one point. The art style is fairly cute. I like how it's all drawn, but I just can't get over the animal thing for this one. So if this is your thing, go for it. But that's what I couldn't get over for this one. And this last one is less of a it's a tie-in to a longer series, but I want to include it here just because it is its own thing. And that is Hitorajime Boyfriend by Mimiko Ari, and I'll talk about Hitorajime My Hero too when I get into that, because I've been reading that series. this is, like I said, I think it actually came first. It came before. No, Hitoji My Hero had to come first. I don't know. This might have come first, but this is about these two people, and they were friends when they were kids, and then the blonde one moved away, and then he comes back, and he is extremely possessive, and it's a really awkward and like uncomfortable relationship to read about. This is really I'll talk about them more when I get to Hitoji My Hero, but I have a very just kind of I'm not sure how I feel about Hitoji My Hero as a series. I've been reading it. I've read volumes 1 through 5. And what's really keeping me is the characters. And the only reason I have not gotten rid of this volume is because I want to keep the complete set. It's a really uncomfortable relationship. I honestly wouldn't recommend it, this one at all. So out of these 4, this is probably the order from best to worst that I would end up putting them in. Let's talk series. So this is obviously a bigger commitment as if we've got a series. And these are in just reverse alphabetical order because I just went through my shelves. So the first one I'm going to talk about is His Favorite by Suzuki Tanaka, which is about this kid who is constantly being talked down. He's like super ugly and super gross, and like nobody wants to be around him. And this guy who's like the hottest guy in the grade, and all the girls are in love with him, and he ends up falling in love with this little guy. And what's fun about the series is that it is very much a parody series. Like this is humor. This is a humorous. This is it's got lots of like, it's out there. It's completely it's just weird. There are these characters. They're these artists, and they're my favorite characters. I think they're the Nozawa siblings. I always have to correct myself. I think they're Nozawa siblings. I'll put it up here if I'm wrong, because I probably am. But it's just hilarious. It's just funny. It's just a funny series. And I think there's some weird parts in it, but I think the fact that it is a parody series, it is a humor series, kind of makes up for it a little bit. Like it's not being played straight, really, ever. Like this guy does constantly pick, the big guy does constantly pick on the little guy, but again, it's a humor series, so it's like we can't really take it all that seriously. So if you want to laugh, this is a good one. Okay, now this next one, I've only read the first volume of this next one. I've read volumes 1 through 9 of His Favorite. I've only read the first volume of this next one. This next one. I've only read the first one. And if we're talking, is this good? No. Objectively speaking, no. Subjectively speaking, probably also no. But this is Cast Heaven, which is about this. Honestly, the plot is like, it feels like a fan fiction plot, because it's about this school where like they play this game and they draw these cards, and they're like, if you get a higher card, you have more power. If you get a lower card, you get less power. It just sounds like a fan fiction plot. Like it does. But you've got our main guy who was previously like the king, and he was able to do whatever he wanted, and he was just awful to everybody. And then the guy who was kind of almost like acted as like his royal advisor almost messes it up, tricks him, and he becomes the bottom of the slush pile, and it's not good. This is one I would not recommend it, but I'm gonna keep reading it, is what we're saying with this one. Next, probably objectively speaking, I've only read 2 volumes of this next one. Objectively speaking, it's probably the best of the bunch. It is so good. It is. I started watching anime first, and I was like, oh, this is, cause it's written like, the sports animes where there's like a whole bunch of tension, but like, it's never gonna happen. But this one does. It's not sports anime. It's a given. I've only read the first 2. I really want to read the third and saw it because it is genuinely so good. Like it is, the characters are phenomenal. The art style is beautiful. The writing is like, and the relationships, it's so good. It's so good. If this one's worth it, yes, this one is 100% worth it, all the way. Like it is so good. It follows this guy, this black-haired guy here, who is in a band, and he plays guitar, and he ends up, he's not super passionate anymore. He was really passionate when he was in middle school, but he's not anymore. And he ends up finding this guy at his normal like lunchtime nap spot, and he fixes a guitar for him, and then they just this guy joins his band, and it's genuinely amazing. Definitely worth it. This next one, I read the first 2 volumes of, and it's super cute. I watched the entire anime, adorable, good art style. I'd say worth it. Not as mind-blowingly amazing as Given, but good. That's Sasuke Miyano by Sho Harusono, which is, again, it's cute. It's funny. My favorite thing about this is how this guy right here, he's the falls first and falls so hard, and it's amazing because this one doesn't see it at all. But no, it's very good, very cute. Very much kind of like a typical day by day normal school life situation. It's a good time. It's adorable. If you want something cute, this is the one you go for. This next one, we're going kind of more into comedy again. I've only read the first volume of this one again, but I am intending on continuing, which is My Love Mix-Up, which does have just so much miscommunication, and it's so funny because how this one goes. Okay, so to explain this one, we got this girl, and this boy has a crush on her. She ends up lending him an eraser one day, and it has this man's name written on it with a heart, and so he is just crushed because it's like, oh man, the girl I have a crush on is in love with another guy. Unfortunately, this guy sees him holding the eraser, and he is like just convinced that it's like, oh, this man has a crush on me. It's so funny. It's hilarious. And this man is so dense, and that's what's the best. Like, I think I actually just posted a video today as I'm filming this about a reading vlog from last year. That's how it goes. This is gonna post for another like 3 years probably. Where I'm like, this guy is almost as dense as Nozaki. He is. He's so stupid. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's not as straight parody as his favorite is, but it's funny. It's humorous. It's good. And then this last one, again, this one I feel conflicted on. I don't know if I actually really enjoy it. What I really enjoy about the series is the characters, and particularly what's really keeping me going is the main character, because he's such a nervous wreck, and I love it. That is Hitorjima, my hero, which does have a trope, the teacher-student thing, which I don't like. I never have. Even like when I was like 14, I didn't like it. But the main character here, he is such a pushover and such a nervous wreck, and I just love how his character is done, that I just keep reading it. Like, I just keep going. And now this guy, I know it's not gonna happen, but I'm rooting for this guy. This guy has a crush on him, and like, I'm rooting for him. So I don't know. Is this one worth it? Probably not. I don't know. Maybe. I watched the entire anime too. Also, the series is not great because when this first one starts out, if I had not watched the first episode of the anime before I had read this first volume, I would not have known what was going on whatsoever. Like, there would have been absolutely, like, I would have been lost. So I would honestly recommend watching the anime first. Unfortunately, then you meet this character, this little black-haired guy, I'll put up a picture, who does not exist in the manga, and you're like, oh man, I like that guy. I feel like he kind of takes this guy's place a little bit, but yeah, this one, I don't know, but yeah, that is that. That's all. I will talk to you later, and bye.